Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Miller Show. I know it's been a little while. Uh, our buddy Joe is going through the police academy right now. Um, he uh, he decided to become a cop on the same day that Derek Chauvin got sentenced. So you know what?
Oh,
Good on him. Uh, we love Joe. He can't be here right now. He's probably not going to be back here for a minute because he's currently in the police academy. Um, me and Joe both served, and our guest tonight served. Um, but joining the police force right now is maybe the most fucking patriotic thing I can think of. And the
Amen.
reason that Joe decided to do that now is because he thinks that the police need good people there right now. And he thinks that he can be of service to his community. He's doing it for the right reasons. And I really respect that more than I can even really express in words. Um, so cheers to you, buddy. I'm sipping on some wild turkey for you right now. I won't pour
Hey,
one out because you ain't gone. But
that's
uh,
crazy.
we are proud of you,
Cheers.
man. Being at National Police Week, we love you guys. Thank you to our law enforcement and the guys that listen to us. And
Absolutely.
Joe, it's not the same, bro. Even though you'd be calling me a cat lady right now, it's still not the same without you.
That man needs a standing ovation. That's awesome.
right?
I mean,
Um,
that's man.
okay. So now I'm gonna get through the advertising section of this. Fire Team Designs for all of your branded merchandise needs. You can go to fireteamdesigns.com. You can get official Mike Miller Show merchandise. You guys are buying that stuff up. We appreciate it. We were able to make a couple of kids really happy, sending them some merch. Um, Fire Team Designs is really cool. They support this thing called Operation Wolf Eyes, which is helping women that are the victims of sexual abuse, um, helping catch sexual predators, and Operation Wolf Eyes, like the name suggests, is looking out for the people that need looked out for.
Oh,
And we love Fire Team Designs. We love that we're associated with them. And Casey, you got something?
yeah. Thank you to Fire Team, the guys there in Operation Wolf Eyes, and also our guest Brian. He has a brand. You want to chime in what that's all about, Brian?
Yeah. Warriors Collection brand. We're promoting health and wellness, and hopefully encouraging warriors to reconnect with the outdoors, with nature. Um, just we have a apparel that hits with true statements. Just not just regular t-shirts. It's t-shirts with a meaning behind it, and teas, organic teas, and some soaps and some gear for outdoors, and just a whole bunch of things. So go check the website out at warriorscollectionbrand.com and support.
Nice. You heard
Nice.
the name.
So, what was that brand name again? One more time. Warriors Collection
Warriorscollectionbrand.com. Yeah, Warriors
brand.com.
Collection.
Ooh, I like that. Warriors
Yeah,
Collection. That
yeah.
sounds like some boutique stuff you got going on over there.
No, 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 no. It's not
Sounds
a.
fancy.
It's not a boutique. It's with our core values from the military, and a little bit of my background from the way I was raised. Collected all of those things, and I felt like that's what made me a warrior today, especially in the times that we're in right now. So, um, all those values and morals, and that foundation, that's my foundation. So I said, that's the collection, and it gave birth to the warrior, and there it is. That,
Nice.
that's what it is.
That's super cool. Super cool. So, you did some time in service. You want to tell us about that? Just a little
Yeah,
brief bio.
just a little brief bio. You know, I joined the Navy. Was in the Navy. I went to the Navy in 2008. Got out in like 2014, I believe, and then I crossed over to the Army. Civilian jobs was not. I didn't like working in the civilian world. It was something else. I was bored. I felt like I was doing a lot of work and was being underpaid or not respected for it or whatever. So I went into the army. My first time, real quick. The first time that I went into the military, the Navy, it was, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I wanted to be or where I was going. So I joined the Navy, and then my second time I went into the army, and it was for a bigger, much more serious reason. I wanted to reunite with a team and put it all on the line. That's why I joined the army and was a 19 Delta, Cav Scout.
Oh man, now I really wish Joe was here.
Oh, he was 19 Delta.
He was Cav.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Ah,
If you ain't Cav, you already know the rest.
oh man. Well, I was an MP, and our particular MOSs didn't exactly get along too very well. A lot of troublemakers.
Yeah, no one likes the Cavs for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know why no one wouldn't like us. It's
It's cool. I party with everybody. It was a good time.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That's was my. I got retired in 2018, and here I am now trying to just
so
make it.
did you like being in the military?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. With my first time going, I enjoyed it a lot, and my 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 first wife wanted me to get out, and so I got out, and you know, it was a snowball effect downhill from there. So um, the second time joining was it was I loved it. The little short time that I was in, I loved it, and I wish I could go back in. But the doc said I would never be able to put the uniform back on, and that has always been a knife in my chest since that day. So, but you know, and keep the fight because that's what warriors do.
You're not wrong. Not wrong there. Um, you know, I loved my time in the army. There was a little moment when I got out where I was like, I have my freedom back, and I
Yeah.
have someone, you know, somewhat young yelling at me, telling me to do stuff.
Hmm.
And I was like, why did I do that to myself? You know?
Right.
But then the longer things go on, I think I've been out for 10 years, right?
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I got out in 2011. I did 5 years. I joined in 2006. Um, I initially joined EOD, got rolled out of that program because I was young and I liked to drink.
Mm.
And that plus EOD school did not mix.
Right.
So I rolled into being an MP. Loved it. Uh, in fact, I begged my sergeant major to put me on the deployment that I got to go on. Uh, Iraq was
Hmm.
maybe my favorite part of being in the military. Was going down range and doing a mission that I really believed in. Um, and the longer I go, right now, I've been working in law enforcement. Basically since then, I've been working in law enforcement for about 10 years. Um, and I love my mission now. I love what I do now. Um, but I have to say, I do miss the very specific type of camaraderie that comes along with being in the military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh, my whole family is veterans. I've had a veteran in every major conflict someone in my family has been in since World War One. I've had family in World War One, World War Two, Korea, Vietnam, uh,
Mhm.
Desert Storm, and obviously this last conflict. So
Wow.
um, we have a big history of service, and my son and me were just talking about military service. Um, and he was asking me about it, and he was like, "What's it like to be, out?" And I said, "It's like living in a bubble, and on the outside of that bubble is a really dangerous, messed up world, and you know."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "The things that you'll see in that dangerous, messed up world are both the most beautiful things you've ever seen in terms of the courage and the heroics and
Right.
the the real the you see what man is capable of at their outer limit
Right.
Mhm.
in both positive and negative respects.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
say it's hard to come back. It's a little bland out here in this world. In the bubble. It's a little bland sometimes. Um
You had said before, Mike, that your son was more likely than not to serve. Do you still feel the same about that present day with the things see up till today? Do you still want him to serve?
of course I do, man. It's look, here's the thing. My family has produced four generations of warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the country needs warriors. And apparently my
Yeah.
family's pretty good at producing those. And so, yeah, I want my son to carry on that legacy because I'm a patriotic American and I believe this country needs strong men.
Well
It
Cool.
needs
said.
men that are capable.
Cool.
Well said.
Do I love this current government? No.
No one
Mm-mm.
does.
and,
I don't
and make no
literally. I
mistake of
don't think there's a. Go ahead.
I said, make no mistake about it. Also, you know, when you're in the military, you're at the beck and call of the government.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that outside of whether or not you like the current government, service is its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Okay. Does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I only asked that question about your son because for those who don't know you a little bit like I do, I just want them to get, an insight to how you see it because I agree if I were to ever have a son, I would implore that he serve this country, especially being my son. He's not going to be some soy thing, but that's the only reason I asked.
All right, look, man. Let me expound on that a little bit because I think it's an important question. You
Mhm.
know, um, I believe in service for the sake of service. I
Mhm.
don't care if my country is doing something that I don't agree with.
Okay.
The very idea of a military that is beholden to a civilian government is a beautiful thing. And it's a thing that I would like to keep going because I've been in and around and read about too many cultures where the military is an independent arm and is capable of tyranny.
Mm.
Right.
Um, and outside of whether or not I agree with the government, I agree with a military that is beholden to that government. And I believe in the ideas of service because I think maybe the most patriotic thing that you can do is serve a government that you don't agree with.
Yeah,
Okay. Fair,
that's. I
fair.
mean, that is powerful right there. I mean,
May
you
I
understanding that
ask
your
a
life could
little?
end.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying you have to understand that your life could end, and you're doing that for people who may not agree with you, for people who may not look like you, for a government
Right.
that's trying to enslave you.
Okay. Well said.
Expound on that a little bit. Uh, I think it's interesting where you're coming from on that.
Who, me or Casey?
You.
Oh, me? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the government is trying to enslave everyone. The policies and the way that um, just how everything is unfolding. I feel like they're trying to enslave us and pit us against each other. It's just it's I don't even know what to like where to start. Where do you even where do you start with this? It's disgusting, and to see the people are falling for it, not
Mm-hmm.
even like looking at it and trying to take emotion out of it. They're just reacting. They're not even thinking.
Exactly.
They're just falling for it. And it's the same. It's been the same game plan since forever. Like back to the '60s, and it's just crazy. And the thing that makes me mad about it, the people that are leading the charge are the people, the older generation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait, my parents, their brothers and sisters, the people that that have raised me, that you're telling me they can't see what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You don't see this. You've seen this since the '60s. You telling me this the same stuff that happened in the '60s? It's just like people stop being emotional. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop being stop being offended by everything. And if you're offended, then you should be offended all the time. You can't pick and choose who's offending you. My favorite one is when Uncle Joe came out and said to the black people that you're not black if you'd have to figure out who you're voting for. But if Trump would have said that, then
Oh,
I
God.
mean they would have burned Washington D.C. down. And it was just like you can't be offended because you allowed someone else to say it. Like, how does that work? If you're offended, then you're offended. Don't pick and choose. Because now it's just, you're being petty. It's hate. You just dislike this person. So, I mean, that is,
You
it's a
know what you're
big thing.
showing right now, though, is intellectual consistency.
Mm-hmm.
You said consistency?
Consistency. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're consistent in what your beliefs are. You know, that's something that I think is lacking. There's a
absolutely.
there's a major subterfuge happening. You know, there's underhanded bullshit in the way that we're seeing things. If you think that Amazon and the CIA are woke for the same reason that some college kid is woke, you're out of your fucking mind.
I don't get it, man. It's crazy. I think one time I was having a conversation on Twitter, and I had to like put my phone down, push my chair away from the desk, and just look to the ceiling and laugh because I couldn't believe what I was reading. There was no logic. It was all emotion. It was all feelings, and it just made no sense. Like,
Well,
how did we arrive to this point?
So you mentioned slavery, right?
you
Mm-hmm.
have.
They're enslaving a
Hold,
populace.
hold up.
Sorry, go
If
ahead.
I may, if I may go back to that, I think one of our biggest issues is the ones that are most emotional are oftentimes the ones that are the most uneducated. Because I try to trap people sometimes, and I'm not proud of it, but like intellectually, I've become an asshole. And I just want to know, all right, you're vehemently opposed to this, but now I want to know why. You just spent, 12 and a half minutes crying and bitching and telling me some shit you don't like. Tell me why. And then once you start to ask that question, more often than not, you see that they don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. It's literally what they've been fed on the television and the fact that they don't know any better.
Oh, I don't even waste my time with those people no more. Like
And a
when I,
lot of it, sisters.
How many people do you know that copy and paste at work?
How many what?
But that's exactly what this is. It's copy and paste intellectualism.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. It's that simple. It's that
Hmm.
most people, and God bless them, man. Most people are not individualistic. Most people, and maybe because we evolved this way, they'll listen. They'll be led. There should be more sheep in a society than leaders because you don't need nearly as many leaders as you do sheep. That's just true.
mm-hmm,
You don't need too many chefs in the kitchen. You know what I mean?
right.
You need a dishwasher and you need a sous chef and you need, to make a functional country or a functional workplace or a functional anything, you need a lot of people to do the heavy lifting. You don't need that many people to be leaders.
Yeah, but when you're defunct and bankrupt on leaders, you have a problem, and that's where we are. And then when the ones that are individuals are, more often than not afraid to be that role because they're afraid of the opposition. So it's kind of like you're fighting three different things at once.
That's why I'm super glad to have uh, both of you guys here with me. You know, it it's that there's there's too many people out there, you're right, that are scared to have an opinion because they're worried about what other people are going to say about that opinion.
I should be terrified then.
But you should, though.
No,
You
because like
faced bullets, motherfucker. No,
right,
you
I'm saying
shouldn't
like
be.
I should be scared on the fact because you know how culture is right now, where especially if you have a business or you have a brand or you're trying to be some type of influencer or some kind of public figure, if you're speaking out on things and you're not speaking on to the side that what people want you to be speaking on, they coming for you. And like I said, I have a business and I'm sometimes I have to catch myself. I'm like, ooh, I can't do that one. Let me water this down a little bit. I had to catch some. I had to catch some of them sometimes, but for the most part, I just let things fly because something, things need to be said. It's too much nonsense, and to combat that nonsense, you got to put some logic stuff out there, and it's just crazy. Like I said, I should be scared. Sometimes I think about it, but for the most part, I just go with it because it's too much nonsense.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, it has never taken, in my opinion, less courage to be rebellious. It has never taken so little to be rebellious. You just have to say what you know is true and
Hmm.
everyone else knows is true. It's not like, I mean, just like what KC was just saying, they can't explain why they think the way they think, right? It's just bullshit. Like, they know that it's bullshit. I mean, come on, man.
No, for some of them don't. I have some family members that don't believe that things are happening in the way that I'm telling them that it's happening.
All right.
And let me throw this in there. These family members wore the uniform,
Okay.
Yeah.
so like there's an issue. It's just not with the civilians. It that the issue goes up because that the things that are being taught are being pushed everywhere. It's like it's poisoning, it's tainting everything. It's in the
Yep.
military, it's in the schools, it's everywhere. And like I said, these people that wasn't my family members were in some high ranking positions, wore the uniform, and they think just like these other people. And it's like, wow. So then they're around people and they're like, well, he was in the military. He did 20 some odd years. Yeah, yeah. So now it's like, I got to combat all this stupidness. How does my voice override 25 years Pentagon? Like, it's hard. And these people really believe they believe this.
All right. I think it would be easier for people that are listening if we pick 2 or 3 topics of stupidness and we discuss those topics, as opposed to just referring to the idiocy that is around us.
There's so
I
much.
think we all kind of know what we're talking about, but I think a little specificity would be good.
Where you want to go?
Um, let's first talk about Democrats uh being pro civil rights. Let's talk about that. I think that's a good place to start because I think there's enough evidence that we can point to and crazy shit. When you talk about people trying to enslave you, I think starting out with Democrats aren't the party of civil rights is a great place to start.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that blacks created the Republican Party and the Democrats were a racist party. And somehow, somewhere, they flipped it and people forgot. And now, you have prominent black people in the Democratic Party saying, this is the party you need to be with.
Mm-hmm.
And that party has spoken of good things, but never done anything. All they've done is put a man up there in a suit that had tons of charm and swag or whatever you want to call it, hypnotized you and then got your vote and disappeared for 8 years. Like, it, they've always made the black community depend on them for all the time. We'll give you this if you do this. Kick the father out of the home. We'll give you more money. This is to the black women. We'll give you more money if you kick the father out of the home. All right, they do that. Now the destruction of the home is there. Constantly depending on government, Democrats, to try to save them instead of taking ownership.
Hey, preach, brother.
I'm just saying that's
You
like
know what I mean?
that's what it is. Like that's what I mean by slavery. Like being dependent on someone else to save you or provide for you. That's slavery. Always they only show up when it's time to
Bullshit is
vote.
what it is.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's the same song all the time. People forget
Yeah.
Barack Obama went to Flint, Michigan when everyone was upset about the water situation in Flint, Michigan. It's a predominant black area. And he was there and he drunk the water. And the people was like, no, don't do it. And he drunk it and said, this water good. Ain't nothing wrong with this water. And flew out of Michigan and everything was fine. And the people there was like, what? But he was supposed to be the black savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many things. Chicago was being burned to the ground. Young people were dying. Barack Obama said nothing. But he only spoke up when the one kid was killed by the white police officer. Like these things, I it don't sit well with me.
What I
I've
like
never.
to say, it's kind of succinct, right? What I like to say is the same people that are sending checks to the hood are also the same people that sent crack, followed by cops, followed by taking all of the men out of the neighborhood and throwing them in prison.
Right.
True. True.
It's crazy. It's
Crazy.
just mind blowing, man. Just and I guess that's the slave mentality. They always
It
feel like they got that vote or something. I don't know.
Look, man, here's how I feel. I feel that it is fucking disgusting and repugnant that we allow American kids to be born in a situation in which 1/3 of the males in certain communities are likely to spend time in the justice system.
Yeah.
That's disgusting and repugnant. We 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 have a country in which in some neighborhoods and I'm not going to mince words here. I'm going to say, yeah, certain Black, Latino, and poor white communities, um, if you're born in them, the likelihood of positive outcomes is so fucking low as to be minuscule. And we just allow that to continue. And we all live our lives and look around like that ain't a thing. Like these aren't American people that are in these dire situations from birth.
Right.
And I ain't never seen no fucking Democrat do nothing about that. I also haven't ever seen a Republican do anything about that.
And you won't.
Absolutely.
Won't, because
You
it's
won't.
not on their doorstep. It
Yeah.
doesn't affect them directly. They're the ones setting up the traps to make you fail, and they profit off of it acting like savior. Listen, Republican, Democrat, Independent, I don't give a fuck. Okay? None of the people in power right now are in the nice suits up in the Capitol. They don't give a shit about you. They never have. They probably never fucking will. Maybe 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 actually give a shit about we the people. But we are just as culpable in this because we turn our head until it's on our doorstep, which is what led us to today.
Yeah.
So it's not just the politicians, the lackadaisical and fucking expectant America that doesn't want to they don't want to ruffle feathers. They don't want to say what we're sitting down and talking about. They want to divide us because, hey, you got 3 different people from 3 different walks of life. Oh, that can't be. They can't be on the same page because that shit don't sell. But meanwhile, we're the ones who see it for really what it is because either you served to defend it, you've lived it, you've had to respect it, you've had to endure it as normalcy. It's a bunch of bullshit. I don't care which side of the aisle you fall on. If you ain't making moves for the people, get the fuck out the way and let someone else do it. But until we get to the point where we realize like we're being duped, whether it's, through racism, it's through mainstream media narratives, we got to cut that shit out in order to get any of the rest of it fixed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. Like I said, I always, because I don't label myself as a conservative or Republican or anything, any of those labels. I feel very strong about throwing the whole bird away. Both wings are broken. That bird needs to be put down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. Both parties are corrupted with. They've been infiltrated by Chinese dollars, by Russian dollars, by whoever is corrupted. The whole bird needs to go down, and
But this
people
ain't
need to wake
nothing
up and
new.
realize that.
This ain't
Right.
nothing new though. Chinese dollars, Russian dollars, that ain't nothing new. I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I don't think they're corrupted by international currency. I think they're corrupted in the fact that they've always been corrupted. This class of people, this elite class of people that sent our brothers to war in Vietnam, they were
Wait. So,
always the same corrupt group of people.
so you
So
saying you don't think that money? Wait. What are you saying? What are you? I'm trying to
sorry,
understand.
but
Hold
I
on.
mean, what I'm saying is this isn't anything new.
Right.
I'm saying that right now, I mean, look, when I think this shit started post World War II, which is really when I do think this current modern globalist regime kind of started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, China was in its infancy. It was just going through a Maoist revolution. They didn't have no money.
Mm-hmm.
Russia had just gone through the Bolshevik Revolution. They didn't have no money. It's not, I just don't think that we've been corrupted through international influence. I think we've been corrupted because certain classes of people in America are not patriotic.
Wait. Even
They
with Joe
are
Biden.
self interested. Huh?
Even with Joe Biden and all his different things that they got going on with China
Oh, do I
before he
think?
was president.
Oh, yeah. Like, okay.
Like
Like, for
voted
sure.
for. I'll forgive you though.
Like, okay, for sure. Right? You have all right. So she's going to say that I voted for Joe Biden. I have my
You
very
did.
specific reasons for that. I totally did. but it's not. It's certainly not because I was. It's because I kind of think the same way that you do. I all right, look. So I didn't think that Trump.
It's
I
all
didn't
love,
think that.
though. I swear,
I I didn't think that Trump was going to be able to do anything, right?
Mhm.
dude. What?
I didn't. I saw him cave 8 million ways to Sunday. I mean,
Dude,
okay, you tell me where homie didn't cave.
I
what are you
feel
talking about? Give me more. When did he cave, my dude? Like, let me in. Open the door. Let a girl in. Let me know where your brain's at, because we still to this day, even though it brought you back to constitutionalist,
All
which
right, how about
I
this? He spent more
that I
money than Barack Obama in 4 years. How about
he
that?
did more for his people than Barack Obama. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
yeah, he
but
did.
doing more for the people in terms of government spending is not
Yeah,
doing more for the people. Sinking
my
us more into debt is not doing more for the people. And I agree with you that Biden's going to spend a lot more than Trump did.
I should have brought Excedrin for this one. Look,
I'll agree with
Barack
you,
Obama,
right?
he spent
But all
less.
I'm going to say is that, in my opinion, Trump was too stupid to fight the establishment in a real way.
Oh
I
shit.
can. I don't know about the stupid part, but I feel like he didn't realize how deep the establishment was. I think he thought he had some support in Washington, and he really didn't. Um, I like Trump, but I'm gonna say this is I have a lot of warriors that you know believe and love Trump, and that's fine. That's fantastic. But he can't be the be all, and that's it. Like that, he
Oh,
can't
he's
be the one.
though.
That
He's not though.
What
Let
I'm
me
okay,
going to
just say,
because I
hey,
feel like everyone is just like up on this Trump train, the Trump train,
all right,
and there has to be another person. He can't. They're waiting for him. If that's the case, they're waiting for him to come. And they're gonna shut all that down. It has to be another warrior. It can't be Trump.
there
We
has
got
to
to have
be,
a
and
backup.
that's
There
the
has to
also
be like
brings
5
out time.
backups.
Well, yeah, that in an ideal world, but I mean, we're in 2021. Who's got the next bingo card? What next bit of fuckery's
This
coming
is
down the pike? But listen, hold on, let me say something,
okay.
because I'll be the
Good.
first one to tell you I trust God and my Glock. Beyond that, there's no trust in this. Okay, Trump, do I trust him? Fuck no. But do I respect him for what he did? Absolutely do. Now, if you want to
Okay.
compare Barack Obama, what a joke, to Trump, I mean, you're gonna have to fucking sedate me, boys. Like, there is
I
no
don't want
way.
the
Do
smoke,
y'all
KC. I
remember
don't want
when
the smoke.
you're safe? There's no smoke yet.
Oh,
Listen,
I want the
when Barack
smoke all
Obama,
day.
I'll give you all the
I
smoke,
want the
Mike.
fire.
I'll come down and find out. All right. So anyway, do y'all remember when Barack Obama said he wanted a border wall and everybody just fucking loved the guy for it?
Yeah,
Here
yeah.
comes Trump, actually backs the border wall. Everybody loses their shit. Now you tell me what the real problem in that situation was.
Oh,
It
Because
I
wasn't.
agree with you. He wasn't ready. Is my whole point. My whole point
No
is he didn't have a
answer, my
revolution
dude.
behind him.
Wrong answer. Everybody loved him when he came down the escalator. Why? Because he was a business dude. He's represented the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and independent. So when he came in, they were all betting they're on him because, I mean, come on, look at who he was up against. It was a fucking no-brainer for most folks. But he was backed until it was no longer good for their pocket. And most people
mm-hmm.
now, you'll see it today. I have people in my life that were avid Trump riders. Like, they were down for Trump. Now you look at them, oh, fuck that guy. He was rude. Are you shitting me right now? You want to talk
Rude.
about rude? Meanwhile, you got empty diaper Biden walking around. North Korea all but fucking told us to screw off. Multiple other nations are laughing at us. And you want to talk about Trump wasn't ready? Nah, I'll never believe it. I'm sorry. I just not, no, no,
Okay.
absolutely not. Sorry, guys.
I'm going to
No,
go
I'm
ahead
with you, KC. I'm with you.
and I'm going to say that I think the conservative movement is
Bunch of
going to be
fucking idiots right
stronger,
now.
is going to be stronger in 2024 than they were in 2020.
I just want them to
If
realize
we
we
make
can't have
it to
Trump.
2024.
Oh yeah, you can't have Trump back. And
You
look,
can't.
man, it it doesn't need to be a cult of personality. And that was maybe my biggest problem with Trump, Casey. I love you. I'm just telling you that that was maybe my biggest problem with Trump is that it was a cult of personality that none of the people around him were were on his same page at all. Most of the people around him were the same kind of Washington elite people
Yep.
that he acted like he hated. I mean, and yeah, he fired a shit ton of them, but he replaced them with the same kind of scuzzy Washington elite
Yeah.
people. I mean,
Yeah.
look at his whole fucking cabinet. There was very little difference between a Trump cabinet and a Bush or an Obama or a Clinton cabinet. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but a lot of those cabinet level officials are really who runs the country. It's very little to do with the president of the United States.
Yeah. That's another
Yeah.
thing, Mike. That's awesome that you said that. People really don't understand who runs this country. They don't understand who is actually pulling the strings, who's setting these policies, who's making these dumb laws and all of these things. It's not the president.
Yeah,
He's more
look, I
for
mean,
the
look at
foreign affairs. He is not running this country.
William P. Barr is a great example of that. You know, the guy that Trump picks to be the attorney general, who is, in my opinion, probably the most powerful cabinet level position that there is, um, has one of the biggest budgets in the entire country. Um, and that guy was a Clinton guy. You know, he was the attorney general under Clinton.
Fuck Clinton.
Okay. But I mean
But
that's my whole point though. You know,
that
is
point is
that
accurate, very accurate.
is that I just didn't see him as being the savior that a lot of people saw. And
I
I
just
do
don't think
see
people were desperate.
I do
They
see
wanted
Biden
someone
as being a
to
dub.
represent them. Well, I respect your opinion. Let that be said. I know I get hyped about this shit, but my God, somebody has to. The problem also is, again, we're not putting people in the right position, or we're not telling people like, yo, you can change this too. And then there's just the lazy fucks who want to bitch about it all day, but they don't want to do a damn thing to actually change it. This
Look,
Oh,
falls,
there's
yeah.
a
I would say
political revolution
this
coming.
50 split. This is where I really fall on this. I think both sides, whether it's politicians or the people, we both have failed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Agreed.
We
Yeah.
forgot what we fight for on our side and why we do it, and then they forgot who they serve. When you have both
Yep.
sides in flames at this level, I mean, if this isn't eye-opening for people to like really wake up and understand the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and why you should fucking be sitting your ass in a city council meeting right now,
Oh.
then I can't help.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
can't help you.
KC.
Localism.
Local.
Yes.
I
We've
mean,
been
you
talking
need to
about this for a
become a head.
minute.
You really
Yes.
need to become a heavy hitter. You need to be the bird in the nest at your fucking mayor's office telling them, yo, Skip, this ain't working for me. This ain't
Oh.
working for the people. Okay? Start there. And then when you got a governor like mine, fucking Snaggletooth Murphy, who vehemently works against the people, I mean, who the hell is going to stand up to these folks? It's us. They work for us. And we forgot that. We got so complacent because we'd rather sit at home, order our bullshit made in China from Amazon, and be like, oh, they
Hmm.
got it. They don't
Hmm.
fucking got it. They don't got it. And you know
Hmm.
what? It's when it starts into your front door and they want to talk about, we're going to hike your taxes. You're going to go to an empty gas pump. We're going to keep fucking with you until you can't take it no more. Who's going to stand up?
Oh my
God damn it,
God.
I love you, Casey.
Is that mic on?
Man.
Turn her mic on.
I know, right? Oh,
Turn
did you
that
not
mic.
hear her?
No,
Oh,
I
turn
heard
it
it.
up. Yeah, for real. Like, holy crap.
She hit that on the head. I said I on my podcast. I think it was season 2. I said I told people I said you need to start paying attention to what's going on in your neighborhoods. You know, your mayor, your city council, they only show up whenever there's time for you to be voting for them. You don't
Yeah.
know what you don't ever see them in your neighborhoods. the district. You never see them, but when it's time for them, they need your vote. They there. You need to hold them accountable. You need to
Yep.
hold your Senate district, whoever that is, accountable. Your governors. But people forget about that. They too comfortable, watching whatever's on TV, binge watching Hulu or Netflix and all this other garbage, while everything is being taken away from them. Everything's
Yeah.
been taken away, and all the taxes are being raised. And when they get the tax bill, they're like, "Whoa, when did this happen?" Oh, it happened when you was, watching the newest twerk dance. It that's when it
Yeah.
happened. That's when it happened.
I mean, I think here's a big thing is that you're absolutely right, Casey. That localism is super duper duper important. Here's the thing though.
Mhm.
There's a national revolution coming. It's coming.
Uh-huh.
Whether we like it or not, it's coming because the current government is not going to be capable of holding on to power. It's
Yep.
why I think they have been becoming for a long time more and more authoritarian since the beginning of the internet. I think the internet has changed our society in a way that is irrevocable. That's a
I
hard word
agree.
to say.
It is. You're
It is
good though.
irrevocable. There we go. You we're not going to be able to turn back into what we were in the 1990s. It's
Nope.
just impossible. And it's because we all know that they're full of shit. And they know that we know they're full of shit.
Yeah.
So let me get
What do
this
we do
clear.
with that?
So Mike, are you saying states are about to lose their power and everything will be ran out of DC?
I am not saying that. What I am saying is that I want to see a revolution of localism. I want to see a localized revolution. I want
Party.
to see I want to see us take this whole coronavirus thing and empower our local governments with it. They've been in charge of whether or not businesses can stay open. Okay, cool. Keep that power. You fucking found your nuts all of a sudden. I don't agree with why you found your nuts, but you did. Keep it. Keep the power and let's use that as an incentive to let our mayors and our governors and you know our city council people know that they have power. They have real power, and that they can affect the lives of the people in their communities in a huge way. I think that right now is a great time to start localizing power and control
Agree.
and
I
take
agree
that
with
away
that.
from.
Because if they don't, DC's going to take it. I mean, that's
Oh,
the end goal.
for
That's
sure.
They hate
I
that the
see.
states are battling them on everything. They hate that they can't control some of the red states. They hate that, Texas and Florida was like, I'm not doing that. I'm opening all the way up. Florida wanted to be open the whole time, and they finally, just opened up. They don't like that. So if we don't start, getting it back to the local, DC going to try to take it all.
I think that there are two governing philosophies right now that are happening in terms of where the revolution is going to go. And I'll be honest, I started falling into I think the wrong one. I think that there is a revolution of class warfare happening, and I
Okay.
think that that is where um I think that that's a lot of where Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders were coming from. I think that they were trying to pit the power elite against the poor in this country and the middle class. And I think that there's another more subtle revolution happening um, in terms of a return to constitutionalism. And I think that that is far more dependent on what's happening because of coronavirus. I think what's happening in Florida with Rob DeSantis, I think that is a much more constitutional revolution that's happening.
The Constitution right now is hemorrhaging. And I mean, whoever doesn't want to acknowledge that is a fucking liar. Ron DeSantis is letting the country see how it's supposed to go. And we have people who are vehemently opposed to that because they're used to being spoon fed the answers. But when you start taking it even below your governor, when you start it up your mayor's, it's like, I'll text my mayor on Sunday night runs. I don't give a shit going on with my neighborhood and what he plans to do to secure it. People need to get off the couch and into City Hall. That's what needs to happen. I don't give a shit about the governor and beyond. I want to start locally. And until we do that, we're not going to see a damn thing change. It's just the way that it is.
Let me ask you a question.
The Constitution needs to be at the forefront. Go ahead.
When Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis are going against each other, where are you at on that? Because I think that's coming.
Wherever the Constitution falls, whoever's going to defend my rights, who I'm going to back. I don't care what title you hold, what you look like, where you came from. If you are for we the people and want secure.
I can no longer hear Casey.
Look, you can take your mystery up. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
You've been breaking up for like a minute, like quite a bit.
All right. Look, simple answer. Whoever defends the Constitution, I support.
I love it.
I like that. I'm gonna say if Carol Baskin, the Tiger Lady, comes out and she says I'm defending the Constitution, I'm voting for her. I don't care. I'm voting for her.
We started reading quite a bit of the Federalist Papers on here and the Constitution on here recently. We started reading Frederick Douglass on here recently.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And
how'd that work out for you?
Well, I mean, I love Frederick Douglass. He's a personal hero of mine. The things that he had to say about slavery and about people holding true to their values as Americans, I think that it's people that are speaking out against oppression that most understand patriotism in America and have the best understanding of what the spirit of the Constitution is.
Mm-hmm.
I love people like that. People that take the Constitution and they use it as a shield against intellectual dishonesty.
Yeah.
I love it.
I agree with you. That's, the Constitution, the Bible, those are my foundations. That is what I stand on. I have nothing else to stand on. That is the Bible and the Constitution. Because to me, it's truth. It's truth and it's freedom. There is nothing else. I don't know.
Frederick Douglass was similar that way. I left out the Bible, but the way that he used the Bible also was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, so that's what I built my whole business, my brand, my podcast, and my whole the whole idea of being a warrior. I don't see how anyone can be against freedom. Like when I mention Constitution, people get mad. Oh, there he goes with the Constitution. Like, why does that upset you? I want you to be free. Like,
well, I don't think it's because they're ignorant necessarily. I mean, it might be because we have public schools and the public schools do a terrible job of teaching people what the Constitution means and what the arguments are because they're complex arguments. There's nothing simple about the Constitution. There's nothing simple about building a framework that's going to survive for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to survive a technological revolution.
Right.
Nothing simple about that. But that's exactly what they did. Here's my thing. If you look at the Donald Trumps and the Bernie Sanders of the world, I don't think that they're rugged constitutionalists. I think there's a lot of class warfare in there. I think there's a lot more Marx in their arguments than there is you know,
I would
Jefferson.
say I would say Trump is more of a. I think he's just more of a businessman. He's trying to figure out ways to get people, you know, increase wealth. I don't know if he's a constitutionalist or, even likes the Constitution. I don't know, but I just see him as a businessman, just trying to make smart business moves because he doesn't want to fail. He sees this as a business. He loves this country and he doesn't want to fail. So I just see him as a businessman. I don't.
If you're a businessman in this country, you want to empower the people, right?
Right.
Okay, and I totally get that. You want to empower the people, but how do you empower the people? What do you empower them with? Are you constrained?
You responsibility back at their feet. You let them understand that you pull the wagon too. This isn't up to one dude in the White House. This is a
Mm-hmm.
conjoined effort. And to say that
Yeah.
the Constitution is complex or something that people can't understand, it's a matter of they don't want to understand because up until now, most folks never felt like their rights were being infringed upon. So again, until it came to their doorstep, look how many people in the last year actually read the Constitution for the first time. That in of itself is egregious. When you come from a country that is based off of a Constitution that secures your freedom, and you are just now taking the responsibility to read it and understand what it affords you, you're an asshole. I don't care what side of the
Let's
aisle
just
you.
be fair, though. The Constitution and modern America have very little in common. I
What do
mean,
you
right?
mean?
I mean, if
Take
you
that
look
further.
a plain reading of the Constitution, if you say that that is represented by the modern United States, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Well, that's. I
It's not
mean,
represented
it's
by
it's
the
not. But it's the foundation. It's just like an old house. The old houses that were built way
right.
back. It's not up to standards of the modern houses, but it's still a good house. The foundation is solid.
Yeah, you can't
You're
knock it
right.
down if the bones are good. Like, come on
The,
now.
the foundation is solid, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we might have built about 300 floors onto a solid foundation. It's getting a little top heavy, is all I'm saying. I mean, you might want to knock it down to the studs. You know what I'm saying? And start rebuilding.
Well, that's why we got the Bill of Rights. You make
Yes.
some little amendments here and all of that. You're good. But you can't be like, oh, because this is kind of outdated, we got to throw it away. No, 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 no. We don't do that.
I'm not
Amen.
saying we need to throw the Constitution away.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
saying
Cool.
we need to throw away the hundreds of years of bureaucratic nonsense that we've built onto the Constitution through a common law system.
And
I
we
mean,
also
Mm.
throw
look
away
at
the
the
expectancy.
interpretations of the Second Amendment.
We need to throw away the expectancy that if you're going to be ignorant to what the Constitution affords you, then you don't deserve to be protected by it. That's how I look at it. If you aren't going to take the time to understand the bones of the house that you live in, then you don't deserve a roof over your head. Point blank, period.
Dang. Casey
Yeah,
coming
Like,
in with the bombs.
I
she
mean,
really is.
you have to understand something. I come from a family. When I was young, I was implored, be yourself, find your own way, whatever that may entail. Okay. I saw both sides. I saw staunch Republicans and I saw some fucked up Democrats in my family. The Democrats today are either dead or suffering. The Republicans and conservatives in my family, they went after it. They understood this is what you defend, this is how you defend it, and this is how you stop people who don't want to defend it. So when I'm looking
Yeah.
at it as all you have to do is sit down and read a fucking preamble and what that protects, and it's pretty clear. Where's the issue coming at? Again, it falls back on we, the people. When you don't take the
Hmm.
time to understand the illness that is eating away at you, you don't. How are you going to get better? That's
Mm.
my question.
All right. Here's a great example of this, right?
Mm.
I'm reading Alexander Hamilton. If you want to feel stupid, read Hamilton. Um Here's the thing. I never realized why we had the Second Amendment. I don't think I really
Oh,
understood the Second Amendment until I read Hamilton and
okay.
until I read the Federalist Papers. Because once I started reading, I realized that we have a Second Amendment specifically because of a federalized military.
Mhm.
Because we have a central military, and because so many militaries have become authoritarian regimes in the past,
Yeah.
we have a Second Amendment specifically to protect us from a tyrannical armed government.
Government, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what we're living. We're living it though. And most people are like, yo, all right, it's coming, but I'm gonna wait for it. I got the Second Amendment. I got this, I got that. Like, how much more time you want to wait? Because my fucking hourglass is empty. Like I'm kind of tired of sitting back waiting. Like the sand's at the bottom, y'all. So unless we plan on getting off the couch and we turn off SpongeBob real quick, shit's not gonna get accomplished. You can have a 2A, you can have a 200A. I don't give a fuck. If you aren't gonna do anything with it or about it, then shut up. But that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
All I'm saying is we're going to have to start working together with people that we don't like if we want to see the revolution that's coming be right.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm open. I'm so open to working with anybody who wants the same for this country, the same for its people. We don't have to agree. We don't even have to take the same roads to get there. As long as we meet at the same destination and nobody fucked anybody over to get there, I'm down. But when you start, pitting one against the other for skin color or, how they dress or who they sleep with, look, I don't give a fuck what you do. Just don't bring it to my front door. Don't push it on me.
Hey,
But
dog, that's the fascists, though. See, that's the fascists in the center that are doing that. That's not people. That's not the people on the left or the right. The thing that we really need to be, the fascists are going away. That's gonna happen. Look, when I said earlier that the CIA and Amazon and Washington, D.C. are on the same page with the woke shit,
mhm,
that's true. And everybody sees that.
mhm.
If you look at the riots that happened over over last summer, a lot of that was just UC Berkeley fucking 23-year-old kids. It, and a lot of people that were pissed off generally, right?
Pissed off about what?
All right, a lot of
You're
people that
a
are
UC
pissed
Berkeley
off.
grad drinking a Starbucks fucking venti something, and you can't tell me one political
All right,
point, but yet you want
your
to burn down.
UC Berkeley grad is a fucking socialist.
You're a
Mm-hmm.
All right.
douchebag.
Now, I'm going to tell you that there were two types of people at those riots. You have your UC Berkeley white kid with fucking multicolored hair.
True.
That kid he has been just taken by a specific ideology, right?
And some wait, but go ahead.
And that kid might not be a socialist. That kid is way more in line. That kid in 10 years is going to grow up and he's going to be a centrist Democrat. Okay? The people that we have to win over are the
Mm-hmm.
people in the neighborhoods that are mad because of generational welfare, because of mass incarceration, because of real problems that exist in their communities. Because those people, they're going to turn to socialism. Those people are going to turn to the type of revolution that we don't want. We don't want another Bolshevik revolution. This is what I'm really concerned with. Like, I'm legitimately concerned that we're going to have a revolution in this country and we're going to get a fucking UBI. We're going to become, we're the last two major revolutions that have taken people away from capitalism and away from democracy have been the Bolshevik Revolution and the Maoist Revolution. So Russia and China were the last two major revolutions that existed. And those were socialist communist revolutions. I'm genuinely concerned that that's what we're headed towards.
Well, let me say this about the people that are upset about generational wealth and mass incarceration and all of that garbage. Um, I'm gonna just say this. I'm sick. All week I've been hearing excuses and people whining and crying and pointing the finger and all this stupid nonsense. Like, get your butt up, go to the bathroom, look yourself in the mirror, eye to eye. Look at yourself and say, it's my fault that I'm
Mm-hmm.
not where I'm at. It's
Mm-hmm.
my fault that I don't have the things that I feel like I should have. You, I don't want to hear about generational wealth. Like
Uh-uh.
that's if it was meant for you to have, then you would have it. But you ain't got it. So what are we gonna do? We gonna sit there and cry about it?
Mm-hmm.
Man, they took my. I had who? I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. If you not
That's the
fighting
problem
a
with these
case,
folks. They can't get out their own way.
like you can't sit there and complain about it constantly. Are you? Do you have a lawsuit coming up? Are you gonna try to get it back? What are you doing? Or are you just gonna be mad and carry it with you for year after year after year after year after year? Oh, you're not okay. I don't. Well, then I don't want to hear about it. Mass incarceration. Stop breaking the law.
Mm-hmm.
Stop breaking the law. The system is
All
already
I'm going to
there.
say to that is that the AOCs of the world, they're going to give those people a check. All right, I love what you're saying, and I agree with you. But the AOCs of the world are going to give those motherfuckers a check.
We
Look
need to
what
What
throw
do
her
happened
in
we?
when
jail.
Anthony
We need to
Chester.
get in those communities. We need to get in those communities and start giving those people something, not a check, but we need to start giving them a way out.
We
I'm
need to give
telling you,
them
man,
the
I've
tools.
been poor. Sorry, go
Hey,
ahead.
Mike, hold on. Okay, go, Casey.
You need to give them the tools, but they also need to want to build the house, dude. You can't just say, oh, the AOCs are going to come in and cut them a check. We know that's their gameplay. That's all they know. That's all they've done, which is why we're fucking here. But what does a check solve? All right, so say you get a check for 15K. You're going to blow that, what, in a week at Tropicana and then talk about how you're a victim next Friday? Miss me with that shit. Get off your ass. A culpability needs to be at the forefront. Responsibility, accepting the fact that you and only you change the trajectory of tomorrow for yourself. AOC ain't gonna save you. Bernie and his three mansions ain't gonna save you. Trump ain't even gonna save you. It comes down to you. I don't want to hear this victimhood shit
I
no more
agree.
at
I
No,
all.
that's
agree with you. But
it's
that shit isn't going to come to a group of people who have been raised for generations to think of themselves as victims. It's just not going to happen.
well,
They're
okay.
not
Well,
going to
then there's
wake up
nothing.
overnight.
Well, Mike, if they're not gonna wake up and see the traps that's been set in front of them and realize, hey, I want better. If they can't have that own conversation within themselves, it doesn't matter who comes to the neighborhood. It doesn't matter who presents what to them. They will be there because it starts within. It doesn't matter. I can give you all the tools, but if you don't want to use them tools are gonna sit there. They're gonna
Mhm.
rust. People might steal them. You're not gonna use them. You have to want to use them.
I
Yep.
And these
agree.
people don't want to do anything. They want to complain. They want to point. They want to blame. They want to be the victim because it's easy. Everything else takes is hard. No one wants to put in the work. No one wants to do any of that because they got their hand out. That's that slave mentality. Give me. If I do this, you go. Thank you. Yes, this should be good. No, cut it out.
You're 100% right. I totally agree with that. But something is going to have to break a lot of people out of a slave mentality.
You
Because I
can't
tell
save
you
them all,
what,
Mike.
you can't. I agree. But we're putting too many people there. You know, I know
I hear
people
you.
who make
Putting
$100,000 a
themselves there.
year who expect that their college tuition is going to be paid for.
Wait, what?
I know people that make $100,000 a year and expect the government to pay their college tuition off,
Mm.
God.
to pay their student loan debts off.
Some
I know
sick.
people that make plenty of money. What I'm saying is that they're being too effective at teaching people that the government owes you something and that we have to figure out a way to fight that victim mentality that is spreading not just to the poorest amongst us, but also to the middle class.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
I'm just saying it's an insipid problem.
you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. Like, there's at this point, I'm not gonna say there's nothing you can do, but like I'm just saying, it has to come from within. At
Yeah.
some point, the light switch has to come on, and you have to be like, okay, no one's coming. These checks are not gonna be enough. I gotta do something. I
You're
can't sit here
right.
and complain.
These people have been hoodwinked. And you know
Yep.
what? I tell you what, when you tell me that there's a bunch of, when you say, the answer to mass incarceration is don't commit crimes, I'm sorry, but if you're poor and you're living day to day and that's your mentality is day to day, there's a different mentality between the poorest in this country and the middle class in this country. And if you're going to sit here and tell me that when the government floods your community with crack cocaine and you're not going to sit there and make money off it regardless of if it's illegal, I I'm just saying
Well,
I ain't never I ain't never met no black dude in Colombia is all I'm going to
let,
say.
let me say this then. Let me go ahead and give you a little background upon my history, my where I grew up and where I was raised. Louisiana, New Orleans. That will be what, crack central in the early '90s, right? It was bad. Crack was
Yeah, I was
everywhere.
in Newport News at the time.
Okay, so my mom and dad, we was poor. We was living at our
Hey,
pastor's
real
house.
quick,
And
you're cutting out real bad.
can you hear me?
I just want people to hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Here, why don't you unplug your microphone or whatever you have and plug it back in? Because you're cutting out kind of bad, but I want people to hear what you're about to say.
What about now?
I do not. You're still like jumping all over the place.
I can hear
Do
them
you hear
fine.
the same thing, Casey?
No, I can hear them fine.
You hear me?
Okay,
Yeah.
must be me.
You hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so crack was very big, and I was young. I was maybe like 4 or 5, somewhere around there. But we was poor. We didn't have our own home. We didn't have an apartment. We was bouncing around from house to house. Our pastor was putting us in different homes. We were staying with different people, but not one time, not one time did my dad sell crack. So as humans, we have choices.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how bad or how dark it gets. We have choices. I don't care if they had crack, heroin at your doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
It that you have a choice. We know the system is there. You see the traps. There's no excuses. Stop breaking the law. There, I don't care how poor you get. There's no reason to break the law. Find a way. We were living in different people's homes. We had nothing for so long. People were bringing us groceries. We had nothing for so long.
So
So
it's definite.
when I hear people throw up these things about, crack and when it's hard, I don't care. I got out the military. My ex-wife divorced me and kicked me out. I didn't turn to violence. I was angry. I didn't turn to, drugs or any of this other nonsense. I had choices. I chose to go the other way. We got to stop making excuses for people and hold them accountable.
I agree with you. Your dad was in your home, right?
Yeah,
A lot of people don't have dads in their home,
you're right.
and the government did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying to make excuses for people. I'm saying that we have to teach people personal accountability that
Mm-hmm.
have never had personal accountability.
I hear you.
Right.
You're
That's
right.
what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we have to make excuses for people because that's just stupid. That's what everyone else has been doing. We have
Mm-hmm.
to teach
Mhm.
people that it's empowering to have responsibility,
Mm.
that responsibility and authority are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility and power are the same thing. And as long as we keep up the soft bigotry of low expectations, we're just empowering victimhood.
Mhm.
But that's what it takes, and that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to sit here and say, and I think maybe you're right. Maybe the best thing that we can do is say, look, man, it's on you. But I think poverty is a pressure cooker.
It is.
And if we don't start with education and jobs and networks and getting to these people, then the wrong people are going to get to them. If we don't do something in these communities that are impoverished, if I just I
No, you're right.
see what's going to
I
happen.
definitely I agree with you on that. I mean, we can't just throw in the white flag on them. We have to, you know, at least try to grab them by the hand and be like, "Do you want help? Do you want, to change your mindset and go about things differently?"
And look, man, here's something that I've been working on. I've been working on getting so just mind you, um I work in prisons. That's my business, and I'm fairly high up, and I have quite a bit of. I don't want to talk about who I work for. I
Mm-hmm.
have quite a bit of reach. Um, and I've been working with a major auto manufacturer for since 2018, to get inmates training in uh, in the newest and most in a market competitive skill. And I've been working for years to upskill inmates in many different sectors because of that program. And what I want to do with that is I want to bring those jobs to communities. I want to flood a lot of hard-hitting communities with upskilled people, and I want to work with local governments to get those jobs to those people in a local way, because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way that we can gentrify neighborhoods without exodus.
Fair.
And
Good point.
I think that we need to all be working on that. We need to be working on uplifting people in bad communities into the middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard thing to do, and it takes thinking outside the box to do it. But if we get jobs to people, let me just say it like the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think anyone likes living in poverty, man. I
No.
know
No.
I didn't. I lived on the street. For over a year I lived in my car, before I joined the army. And I didn't like it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know the way out either. I didn't know anything beyond what the next day was for a long time when I was young. And I learned that from my biological dad, who was a crack addict in Newport News. Um, I'm really lucky that I had a stepdad that my listeners have met, um, who is a really great guy. Uh, but it took taking the lead from him. It took seeing a man be a man before I understood how it was done. And I don't know, man. Like that's kind of where I'm coming from. If
No,
that
I that makes sense. I understand that.
I
That
have a
makes
hard
sense.
time throwing away people that I know could bring something of value to our community, to the country and to our movement even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
no, wait. Let me make sure because I don't know if I said that, but if I said that, that's not what I meant at all. I don't know if I said that. I don't, I don't believe we should throw our brothers and sisters away.
No.
And I don't believe that at all. I do believe that they have to want the help, and you have to at least, be able to present that. And if they want it, go with it. But if they don't, you can't force it up on them.
Right.
I agree.
Um,
I
but
just think
yeah,
that there's leaders in every community. There's
right.
people who think independently in every community. And if
Mm-hmm.
we take and we build, if we do the same thing in those communities that we do in our communities, if we build infrastructure in those communities, some people are going to take advantage.
Yep.
And those people that take advantage will lead other people to take advantage. Those people that are walking around with 100K of hard earned cash in their pocket, they're going to be the big fucking dogs in those communities. And there's going to be other people that are going to want to be that. And that's maybe the first step towards ending things like mass incarceration, things like welfare programs. If I work at fucking McDonald's and the government's willing to give my old lady 2 grand a fucking month as long as I fucking get kick rocks and I'm not in the house anymore, it's real fucking attractive to my old lady to kick me out of the house. But
Mm-hmm.
if I'm sitting over here making 100 grand, it's a different story. My family can self-support. I don't need the government. My old lady doesn't need the government, and Uncle Sam ain't gonna raise my baby.
I think that point alone needs to be hammered home is that you don't need the government. When the government tells you they have a remedy for a problem, you have to sit back and then understand something. They created the problem 90% of the time from Jump Street anyway. So when they tell you here's the answer to it, nah, it never really works out that way. You don't need government intervention with your family unit, with your health. You don't need these things. And we just got to break those chains. We got to make people understand if you want something, get up and go after it. If you need help in attaining that, I'm willing to help you. But the second you open the door for some government bigwig to tell you they have an answer to all your problems, I can no longer aid you in whatever it is that you want because you don't want the same
Right.
thing. You want to be led. I want to get out there and make my own moves. I don't need anybody to pass me the ball and tell me how to make my shot. No, I'm already on the team. I don't need your help. It's kind of like I get where you're coming from. And yes, we need to lift these folks up, but these folks also need to lift themselves. And that's why it's so important to go local because you need leaders that are going to represent what the people in your community want. But when you're sitting behind a Democrat or a Republican who ain't thinking shit about your family or lifting you up, you're trying to fight fire with a squirt bottle. It makes no sense.
You're right.
I hear you. On that point right there, I would say that well, let me see. Let me switch back to Mike with the money thing. I heard you say, and it's probably just a number you're throwing out there. But I want to change the mindsets of people where they're chasing money. And the
Mm-hmm.
government knows, the Democrat knows, people are obsessed with money. If
Yep.
we dangle $1,500, we can get their vote. We'll get them to throw away all their freedoms just for $1,500, and they'll love it. What we're trying to do with the Warriors Collection brand is empower people to you know, think about creating for themselves, becoming self-sufficient, self-efficient, self-sustainable, you know, and not relying on government. You know, putting the power back in your hands to do for self, whether it's teaching you how to grow food, teaching you how to protect yourself, um, because those things are important.
Mhm.
Because if the stores were to shut down, how many people could, you know, grow their own food or even know where to start with growing their own food so they can feed their families? There's so many different ways we can, reach people, and that's what we're going with this. We're trying to, change people's mindsets and get them to be more reliant on themselves.
Mhm.
Learn a new skill. Learn how to be to do for self. I
The
don't
young
know what else.
governor.
I think that's maybe something that we want to start talking about a little bit more on our show is how do you market self-determination?
How do
I
you
think you're
market self
right.
determination?
When I said money as an end goal, right? You're right.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. The real thing that you're making when you make money for your family isn't the money, it's the self-determination. It's that you made it yourself and you don't need somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the government. You don't need a daddy.
Right.
You got it. You got this. It's self-determination. It's a feeling of freedom because you fucking make your own thing. You make your
Right.
own way in the world. And how do we market that more effectively? Cuz
Well,
I really do think that it's a war right now. I think it's a war right now between the
Ideas.
people that are right, between ideas, between philosophies, between between a very good argument in terms of there being so much excess capital created through globalism and automation that we can just pay people to self-sustain versus the intrinsic good of self-determination. I think there's a real war of ideas there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's dire necessary that we win
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely.
it.
You're absolutely right. You know, the thing is, they've made getting money from the government like a sexy, pretty thing. It's all glittered up and it looks real good, but they downplay the your ability to do it for yourself.
They make it
There's
appealing to be a victim.
yeah, they just it's something else, man. But
Agreed.
yeah, you're right though.
I I look forward to talking to you again, man. I
Yeah.
think yeah, I think this has been a great show. I think it's about and we're about almost 30 minutes past where we normally go.
Oh
Yeah.
snaps.
Uh but I've really
Told you.
enjoyed this conversation. And it's good to meet another real patriot. It's good that we barely even it's like we barely even talked about you know I don't think I used the word we talked for maybe 45 minutes about poverty without I used the word black one time
Yeah.
because
See, like
I don't think it's about a black and white issue. I think it's
yeah.
about I think it's about self-determination. I think we hit the nail on the head when you started talking about being able to grow your own food and make your own way. That's really is what it's about. It's about the empowered and the people that feel entitled
Mm-hmm.
and
Like I,
what this country is about. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, I feel like that's the ultimate freedom when I'm able to do for myself and I'm not reliant on the government to do for me. Because they can have you jumping through hoops, you know? And you're right, like that conversation, we was able to talk about a real subject without, putting color or mentioning color over and over again. Like we was having a conversation about issues.
Hmm.
And if other people could do
Because
that, we could open so many doors.
Amen. And this isn't a color issue. This is just merely a we the people issue. And once we
Mm-hmm.
get past the rhetoric and the daily vitriol that we see on the likes of, MSNBC and all that other bullshit, you start to realize that you really want to talk liberty, do for yourself. You want to know freedom, do for yourself. You
Yeah.
want to meet a goal, get out there, fucking get your boots dirty. Don't sit on the couch expecting a check. What, you think 3 injections of $1,400 is going to save your soul? No,
My girl
no.
Casey over here is living that life. You don't
Look,
know Casey, right?
No,
But
I don't know, but she
let me
is
just say
a
that this girl out
fireball.
here working 3 jobs,
Yeah, she works, she grinds.
she's a grinding.
every day,
I mean, so she
every
ain't
day.
just saying this shit without backing it up. This
No,
girl
and
works harder
this
than
is the
any
thing.
person I know.
Victim don't look good on me, dude. It never has. I've been in some real tight spots. I've been without a home. I've been on the other end of not knowing what the fuck road to take or how to get there. But you know what? I didn't go to the government. I didn't go to someone else who was going to fucking give me bad advice. I realized the decisions that I was making weren't accompanying my goals. And when I failed at it, I didn't really fail. I learned. I look at life
Mm-hmm.
easily. I look at it as I either win and accomplish what I'm setting out to do, or I learned a lesson. And then if I learned a lesson, I not only figured out what not to do, I know certainly how to do what I'm trying to do. So it's
All right.
I, I can't bring myself to understanding why someone wants to be a victim rather than the victor. And I don't care, like I said before, I don't care where you come from, what color you are, what you think you represent. I don't give a fuck. As long as liberty and the preservation of the Constitution and we the people is what your end game is, I will support you. I will lift you up. I will laugh with you. I will respect you. I'll pray with you. I don't give a shit. But when you come to me and you tell me that I'm a fascist and you believe in communism and you think the government's going to solve every problem you have plus gray hair, well, listen, I got news for you. You fucked up somewhere. I can't save everybody, but I'm willing to try. I mean, we should all have that mentality. Like, I'm willing to put my hand on the fucking hot stove if it means I'm going to show you, like, this shit hurts when it burns. Like, don't do this. But most people are just like, all right, I'm good. We're going to keep the divides up. We're going to hate this community and that community. And we're not going to give a shit. We're going to wait for, Uncle Joe Biden to send us a check, which really ain't coming from Biden. Look, I don't have no type of time for that. I'll be at work and you try to convince me why that shit is right because it'll never happen. It'll never happen.
Dang. Dang, Casey.
That's why I love my girl Casey.
She is something else. Let me I gotta say this, Mr. Brian out in Kentucky, roll tide. All right, back to
Oh
the
yeah, hell
scheduled
yeah. Roll
program.
Tide, Bama. Bama, we love you. And it was a great idea. He was the one pushing this for a while. And look,
Yeah,
here's
he
the thing.
was.
When I found Brian, this Brian, because there's another Brian that we got a lot of love for. When I started seeing his tweets and stuff, I started noticing what we just discussed. It was never about where you came from, what color you were. It was the point of how to save yourself, how to be your own hero. And that's what made me
Mm-hmm.
come to him. And I started reading what he was writing. And I'm like, damn, this dude gets it. And then when I seen his, vehement hate for the government, I was like, that's even better. So like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like he was a shoe-in. So I was like, this is perfect. But when I
He's
see
like, I
some
need to see the
other
venom.
folks,
Where's the venom? Where's the venom? Oh, there it is. There he is.
yep, yep. So I appreciate Brian that you took the time and you came into this honest and you don't look for some handout or someone to be like, yo, I feel sorry for you, so let's do this. You make your own way. And I respect that for anybody who gets up and goes against the grain, no matter how many times they fail, no matter how many people are against them. I will always be the weirdest chick in the room. I will support those who support themselves. And sometimes you got to ruffle a couple of feathers along the way. I'm on board.
Mhm.
But like I said, my end game in this, maybe I can lift up a neighbor. Maybe I can teach somebody something. Maybe they can teach me something. But if we have the Constitution at its root and we want the same thing for we the people, I'm on board. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Anything else, non-negotiable. Like just Constitution or nothing else. Because without that, you don't know liberty. And I don't want to. I don't want a life like that.
She
Agreed.
said it.
Oh, there's the little hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
All right. Well, I think it's about time for me to get off here. I love you guys. It's been
Yeah, I gotta
real.
pick up my
That
mom
was real
from work.
fun.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm glad we did this, guys. I really am.
me too.
It was
Y'all have
awesome.
a great evening. It's been a good conversation, Brian. Uh, we'd love to have you back anytime.
Just let me know. I'm
Cool.
here. I'm
All
here.
right, y'all. You good?
You too. All
All
right.
right.
Mike Miller Show, out.
Later.
That
All
was
right.
awesome.